All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Earnhardt Experience, episode 11. Want to shout out real quick to my true fans and subscribers, and to my haters, love you assholes, number one. Anyways, today, ladies and gentlemen, as advertised, and thankfully with his help, obviously more so, I'm able to have a big treat today. We got none other than Matt or Matthew Chop Bertrand. Thanks for coming on to the show, Matt.
What's up, man?
I'm,
Oh, no problem, dude. No problem.
I'm assuming you prefer Matt over Matthew.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, man. I've been called everything to besides that to USOB. So whatever, man. It's all.
Okay. I hear you. Shit, I've been called some names too in my time. Uh, and for those who are watching this and to watch this in the future, this man was also a cast member on the one and only. There was only one season of it, unfortunately. They did have a season two in production, then it just went out. But he was on none other, excuse me, than Game of Arms with the Baton Rouge Roughnecks over there with Craig Toulier, his buddy Josh Turbo Burrow. By the way, are y'all still friends and stuff?
Oh yeah, man. I called him today, but hold on a second. That's my little light went out in the truck. But yeah. We still talk, man. We're still good friends.
Is he still
Uh,
arm wrestling, or was that just a
no,
here and there thing?
no, he did it. He just not so much lately. So he's been trying to get his life together. He got a lot of stuff going on as far as new jobs. So he's been pretty bowled up.
Gotcha. Yep. Um, Obviously, like I said before we got on the show, I got a lot of notes right here. So if I'm a little slow and what have you, ladies and gentlemen, just bear with me because there's a lot here. Uh, I guess I could start with your stats like I normally have been doing, and then we can start talking about other stuff that I'm curious about and made notes on in here. You actually have two sets of stats on the arsarms.com site under Matthew Bertrand and Matt Bertrand. Your prominent one, though, which has a lot of stats on it, is the Matthew one. And in the right handed 242 plus, bro, you're 29 and 15. The regular 242, you're 1 and 2. And the 198, you're 3 and 4. Now, your left hand is levels above. Just looking at the numbers, because in the 242 plus on the left arm, you were 40 and 18, stacking it. And then in the regular 242, you're 2 and 4, and then the 198, you're 2 and 4. So just looking at the general stats, you're obviously left-handed dominant, but you're not bad with the right either. Correct me if
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
yeah. When my shoulder holds up, I do all right, man. So
You
so.
with your right, your shoulder.
Yeah, yeah. I had
Okay,
some issues. That's actually how I started pulling left-handed. But
gotcha. So that's not how you started. So you started as a right-hander.
well, yeah, I'm right-handed, so of
Yeah,
course I started right-handed, and then I just got to where when nobody was there to compete or whatever, I'd pull left-handed too, just for the fun of it, and turns out I got good at it. So
cool. I'm actually, and I should have seen this somewhat near the beginning of my journey, but I'm actually a left hand dominant too, even though I'm a right hander, and you
it
know,
happened, man.
uh, yeah, it's just weird. Now you have just a little bit of stats, but they are of this past year, right? Under the Matt Bertrand stats in the 242 plus. excuse me, right hand, you're 4-0, and the regular 242, you're 4-2. Then the left-handed 242 plus, you're 3-0, and then the 242 left-handed 5-1. Now there were some notes I made here, um, uh, and I made a comment with an asterisk right here about Jonathan Breda. Looking at some of the tournaments you pulled with him, left-handed and I believe right-handed, but it seems like y'all have been back and forth. But this past year, you got him this past year from what it looked like.
Yeah, it was a tournament, Louisiana State, the tournament that I put on every
Yep.
year, and he pulled multiple classes, and he just kind of bowed out as far as didn't want to risk not winning either, so he kind of bowed out of the 242, and he pulled the super.
What?
But actually, a lot of people don't know this. Jonathan used to work. People will tell you different stories, but this is God's honest truth. Uh, Jonathan used to work at Turbo's bar when Turbo was the manager, and I got him started in it. And he come to my house for a couple of years, and we started rolling and getting good. And then he kind of did his own thing. I got hurt in the plants and couldn't compete, and he started doing his own thing. And that's whenever he linked up with Herman and a few others. So we're real good friends. We actually trained together too, so we're very familiar with each other.
Gotcha. Sir Yak Toast, if anything, and only people in our circle know, bro, you get out of here with that shit. We don't care if you're gay, bro. Peace. For real.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
But anyways, appreciate the comments there, Sir Yak Toast. Go suck a bug. Anyways, let me unmark that real quick. All right, so and the reason why I mentioned him is because I seen before the Louisiana State, as I made notes here, and you just talked about. You actually beat him twice on the left hand in the Open 242, which was a class of 7. You went 5-1. You beat Clint Colum, Michael Thompson twice, and then, as I just said a second ago, Jonathan Breda twice. But you also lost to him once. But I'm pretty sure you got first place in that class because you only lost once. Got your get back, as I say in my notes right here, this past year.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows, like, especially up since that tournament. Hold on, let me stay in the same place. Do not jump around too much. But he will beat me 9 times out of 10 right now. I haven't gotten back up to where I want to be, but it just so happens when you pull multiple classes, it just makes things a little bit harder. And he didn't want to risk not
Oh
winning
yeah.
it. So,
Oh
but
yeah.
after Louisiana State, we competed at a tournament in Shreveport, and that's when my wife broke her arm. So I kind
Ow.
of had to help take care of her and get away from arm wrestling for a good little while. So I'm just getting back to it now. So I got a late start. My next tournament's actually going to be back at Louisiana State again. So I'm going to try to get back up to par and getting ready for that.
Gotcha. All right. So, according back in 2014 with Game of Arms, at that point in time, you were a 2-time national champion. Have you added to that, or are you
No, I
still
didn't
just a?
compete. Yeah, I went through a bad spell after right around Game of Arms. Went through a divorce.
Yes.
I didn't compete or do anything for a while. Then I lost some weight trying to get my health back and stuff like that. And right whenever I was starting to get healthy again and starting to somewhat compete again, I'd got injured at work, and it messed up a lot of my respiratory system, and I couldn't work out without getting short winded, so I couldn't do anything. So I kind of got deterred from the sport, and I'm, like I said, up to a year or two ago, just getting back around to it slowly but steady. So it's just taking some time, but I'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I actually remember, I wish I uh, got the clip on here, but it was last year, I believe, or in 2023. You came out of hiding, man, and you lost so much weight, man. Like you look good. You were almost damn near unrecognizable because of what you looked like in 2014. And then, you
Big
pop
difference.
up and yeah, big difference. Um, would you say, because as you were talking about earlier, would you say most of that weight loss came after you stopped drinking?
Oh no, no. To be honest with you, I don't know if I ever really stopped drinking. I didn't. I never really stopped. I'd had a long story short, I got up to I was pretty big. At my heaviest, right before Game of Arms, a year before that, I got up to like 350 pounds. I slowly lost. I lost like 50. I lost like 50, 60 pounds, and then on my own, and then I had to have. I did the weight loss surgery just to help because I was still high blood pressure, fighting with a bunch of health problems. So I had to
Yeah,
do.
one of those, and hopefully you don't have it. It's like your mother in, I believe it wasn't two. It was episode 8. Let me see here. Where the hell? Yeah, episode 8, which is called War Horses. You went to the doctor in that episode, and they were worried about your cholesterol. You didn't inherit your that disease, that fatty liver disease, did you, from your dad? Did you?
No, I'd I'd so I educated myself a lot on it. Once I realized um some of the problems I was having, I slowly changed my life around. But then again, like when they filming Game of Arms, I just went through a divorce, so I didn't give a shit about nothing, man. Like I was just doing whatever the hell I wanted to do, having fun, and
And then also too, you had lost 3 friends to gang violence as
yeah,
well.
yeah, it was pretty tough, man. A lot of bunch of BS around here that's been going on for years, and it was pretty rough little spell. So I
Yeah,
just kind of did my own thing, and but back to what you were saying about some of the health problems from my dad. I'd slacked off at a hard liquor. I just drink beer now. I take a shot here and
gotcha,
there, but not that often. And more just with friends type thing. And I'm getting older, so I don't drink as much as I was years ago or on the Game of Arms show. But I learned. I know I had to make a life change, and I did, and I did it for the best. Well, what happened was when I lost so much weight, I'd got when they do the surgery. Sometimes you'll lose more than you expect, and you'll get weak and find problems just doing daily stuff. So I literally had to force myself to put back some weight back on, and because I just I couldn't do daily things that I should be able to do, and I just put a little bit too much back on. So now what I'm doing now is trying to get back down to where I'm walking around about 240. So not just
okay,
have to cut the weight to make it. So it's not that I'm not that far off. It's just going to take a few months.
gotcha. So let's see here. Man, just hearing your story about you losing your 3 buddies and everything, I can loosely relate to that because I actually when I started, I actually met this guy who unfortunately passed away August of not this past year, but 2023. And like losing him, we weren't like real friends in real life, but whenever it came to arm wrestling, he was like my Apollo Creed, for Rocky, offhandishly. He was young. He was 22, ex-Marine, strong left-hander and right-hander too. So I just I can relate to that. So when as a person watching the show and everything, I just it's kind of like, I guess you could say, like a kindred spirit or what have you. Hearing your story, I guess you say it touched me and just got me thinking about my buddy who passed away. And then too, I have ex fiance and failed relationships as well. I have seen though you're married again and got
Yes, sir.
kids.
Yeah, married with 3 kids. Yep.
Good for you, man. And everything's good, happily married.
Yeah, everything's going good. And she, like I said, she broke her arm last year, but she previously competed, and so she didn't train as much as me and do the exercise and like what I was doing for arm wrestling. But she was getting into it and getting a little bit heavier into it when she got hurt. But back to what you were saying, man. I don't think that like my story and everything like that special. Everybody has their own stories. You have your story.
Oh yeah,
I'm not no special human being. There's not nothing like everybody. Don't want to take away from your story or anybody else's. They just put a camera in front of me at the right time, and I got on the show. I wasn't begging people to get on the show or nothing like that. I just we all go through stuff in life, and I mean, you just got to deal with it, man. You got to power through and get past it sometimes.
oh
So,
yeah, yep. You're either living or you're dying, man.
yep.
Basically. All right. So episode 2, Southern Hospitality. Dan Mosier was in the fucking crowd. I don't know if anybody watching that show ever caught that, but Dan Mosier was in the crowd, during your match and everything. And were you close with Dan Mosier at that time?
No, not really. He just started coming around, and he was one of the newer guys doing it. Um, I've always been real good friends with Dan. I'm not taking nothing away from him. He just he was getting started at a time when we were filming. I think he had just moved down here from up north or wherever he had originally come from.
Gotcha. Yeah, because who knows? Maybe one day I'll have that man on my show. He's really hard to contact, though. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
you were so easy, you were so cool and everything. You're like, yeah, that sounds good, man. Let's do it.
yeah. Well,
Not
some people,
everybody's like that.
yeah. I work for myself, so now I pretty much make my own schedule. So with a heads up, I could pretty much make a lot of stuff happen. That's
Gotcha.
not so hard to do.
All right. So, what is it that you actually do, if you don't mind me asking?
I have a couple rent houses, and I'm a crawfish farmer too. So that's the majority of what I do now. I do like little handyman stuff here and there, but that comes along with having the rent houses and stuff. So, but
Gotcha. Now, on the show, obviously, they showed you as a shrimp fisherman, and that you had at that time owned or what have you, inherited an oil well.
it wasn't so much an all well. It was my family owned a production. I had inherited from my dad part ownership in a production company and production and workover. And we didn't. It's not like Landman or these other shows out there where everybody's multimillionaires. No, dude, we're super small time. And we basically sold it. And a long story short, but we ended up didn't even get paid for it. There's a lawsuit and a bunch of stuff into it. Not a lawsuit, but get the money back because it was a payment program whenever we made the sale deal. It's a bunch of BS, long story short. But
Damn.
yeah.
Ain't that something? But now, before we got on the show, the shrimp fisherman thing actually was just a hobby. You weren't doing that for like a living, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. I was shrimp fisherman because at the time I was working in the oil field, and no oil company would let a production company on set and film and stuff. So I had to quit that to get on the show. So
Whoa. You got to be kidding me. Ain't
no,
that something?
no.
Getting all these little gems right here, the behind the scenes. They should have did something like that though with some of you guys, behind the scenes part, DVD series or whatever for that whole season.
There was so much stuff that like they would film stuff we would do, and it was almost unbelievable. And they would tell us like, we can't put that on the show because nobody would believe that. And I'm like, well, so and they just followed us around, and
That's all I gotta say.
yeah, and we just did what we did and kept doing and having a good time. And eventually, some of the stuff they put on the show where I'm riding my four wheelers and stuff like that. So
Oh yeah, that was some cool shit. I've actually ridden a four wheeler one time, and that was when I was a little fucking kid on those little electronic four wheelers, that
yeah,
my dad had bought me. But I've never been like one of them country boys, I guess you could say, on the back roads and stuff like that with the four wheel riding.
so that's all we.
I was a fisherman. I was raised a fisherman, and I was raised on pro wrestling. So
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
yeah, oh yeah,
Big time wrestling fan growing up.
cool. All right, so in that episode 2, right, your opponent was Cobra Rhodes, and according to the episode, the third round lasted 80 seconds. Was that really true?
Oh yeah, yeah. We sat in the middle of the table for a long time. I mean, we were both hurting. Uh, I just got in a good position, got behind my arm, and kind of towards the end, and just outlasted them. And I took the loss. That specific, hell, that was the only loss I had besides the finals. Uh, was that one
Yep.
match? And
Yeah. Episodes 2, 4, and 8, you won your super matches.
yeah, yeah. I was undefeated too. Besides that one match with Cover, he got me on that one match. But basically, I just sat there and he kind of got out of character where he got extended on his arm, and I just held him and kind of wore him out a little bit. But it was an
Gotcha.
awkward position if you rewatch the episode, and I just sat on it, just tried to wear him out a little bit, and
Yeah.
ended up getting the win after that. The next match was
Now,
easy.
yeah. Now, serious question. Was all these matches like fixed or predetermined beforehand and scripted a little bit, or were they all actually real?
Like the outcomes,
Uh,
or
all of
they
it, all of it
they
in
okay, so
general.
they pieced the matches together. But the outcome, this is what I tell people: how much money, if you were on national TV, would they have to pay you to lose a match? It'd take a lot of money to lose intentionally. I mean, that's a lot of pride. So that's what I
Yeah.
tell people. Like there's no way in hell you're gonna pay me to lose, especially on national TV.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of different because I'll say this. Shit, give me 500. I'll go down for anybody. I'll make it look good too. We'll
You say
script
that till there's a
it.
camera in your face. When the camera gets in your face, you're like, oh hell, the pride just goes out
Oh
the
yeah.
window.
Well, I'm just saying, if they do another game of arms and I'm on it, I'll lose every match if they're paying me at least like $500. I'll make that fucking money. I will not care. And I'll kayfabe it too. You know, I'll kayfabe it. But you know, hey, what can you say? I'm a poor man, so
Yeah.
the only one I wouldn't lose to, I would not. There's no money you could give me to lose to one guy, and he's not really an arm wrestler. He's a podcaster for the 98%. Ryan Grinding. Fuck that guy. I will never lose intentionally. That fat fuck. He can suck my balls.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Anyways, enough with that. All right. Before I continue, I want to take this time right now because I said I was going to do this just real quick. And this is for an event that happened. Just bear with me, Chop. This was for an event that happened this past Saturday. And I watched the live for it and everything. It was this event right here. It's called the Venom Series. And AEW 2.5. And I got to say, there was one match, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all care to look that up, it's under Team Pie Pie's arm wrestling channel on YouTube. You can find it on there. And there was one match that I really liked and thought was very entertaining. You had right-handed, you had the Ghost Viking, Wade Carlson, against Houston's very own, the Houston Heavy, Richard Greenwood, who's an ex-bodybuilder and strongman. That was an entertaining match. Ultimately, Wade Carlson won that, but I was seriously impressed with your performance there, Wade. So, yeah, y'all just, if y'all care, go check that out. Support Team Pie Pie. Really good people, especially Timothy Pie Pie Kalonen. He's been very nice to me, even in person. The first and last time we met, after I crushed my left-handed opponent.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
I can't help myself sometimes. But yeah, deuces to you guys. All right, so back on my special guest here. All right, so I believe I already asked you about Josh Turbo Burrow, and so y'all are still friends and everything. We already talked about that stuff. Talked about that. All right, let's see here. Episode 4, Bloodlines. Not only just with you, but also there was a character on there, man. That Kevin Nelson guy really hit home with me with the kid situation he had. But you had, who did you have in that episode? You had Kenny Hughes, one and only, man. And I got so many questions to ask you about Kenny Hughes, man, because
I had Kenny Hughes. That was the next episode, I think. I had Brian Bigwood.
Brian, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I seriously looked ahead, Cam. All right, so yeah, you had the vegan. So it was the vegan versus the carnivore. Yeah. Now, you seem to have a real problem with that dude during the episode. Was that for real? Like you just didn't like that Yankee and
No, well, kind of, man. They were pushing a lot of stuff on me. The health situation around the same time. It got pretty intense because I can't say without knocking certain people, but it got pretty intense, and I just wasn't having that. And some of the reffing, I wasn't on, like, some of the calls were going one way and not the other, and I called a spade. What the fuck? I ain't dealing with this.
I know, because like the reffing was seriously loose in that show. I mean, looser than fucking FAL rules.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
But what were you saying?
It was bad, and I wasn't having it, and like, you got to keep in mind, like, they taking money out of my pocket, and I'm not having all that stuff. So I there was a time where the head of security was Walter Payton's old bodyguard, and he was a real big dude, and he was an older fella. And he just like at one time I got so pissed off and mad, he literally just picked me up, put me on his shoulder, and just kind of walked away like, "Come on, Chop, calm down a little bit." And
God
yeah,
damn.
oh,
That was
it got
when you were
bad.
big too, so
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
strong dude right there.
I was every bit of 300 pounds, and he just picked me up and walked with me, and I'm like, okay, yeah. And
Okay.
then come back around to it, kind of gathered all my stuff, but there was just
Gotcha.
there was no way I was losing that match. From the backstory, from the way they were portraying me to be, and everything, I wasn't losing, bro. So
Gotcha. Yeah, because there was money up for grabs, so I can understand that. But you're also saying at the same time they wanted you to play like a certain character?
no, so they were putting me out to be this fat, unhealthy guy, and he was this super health freak. And they were just, it was the storyline was trying to make me look bad. Now, keep in mind, if I would have lost, it wouldn't have turned out, the story wouldn't have played the same way. Now, they filmed different things. So if I would have lost, they would have made me look like this fat slob that did nothing. He's weak, the super fit guy.
Yeah,
And
fuck that shit.
yeah, so I was like, dude, no way in hell. And it just, that's why I'm slamming the table at the end of the match and everything, because not only we got paid to win, but if our team won, we got paid also.
Extra.
So
Yep.
it was 2-2. On my team, I'm taking money out of my team's pocket if I lose, and I'm taking my money from winning out of my pocket too. So I had to win, and I did in a pretty good little fashion too. But
Yeah. He was a good size too. He was pretty
oh
good
no, he's
size.
a
So,
big dude.
but so altogether, how many years total have you been arm wrestling?
Um, 21. This year makes 21 years, I think.
Damn, that's a
Yeah,
long time. So, what year was that
2000.
exactly? 2000. So
What
you
this
were
year? 20.
14 years. Yeah, you were around 14 years into the game, going into that TV show. So, okay.
Probably about right. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, have you ever gotten a call from these big promotions like Knuckles Up or East versus West?
Man, listen, I want to explain something to you. In arm wrestling, when you're out of the game for a year, they think you some washed up dude that just can't cut it no more. So I don't get calls from anybody like,
You got to be shitting me.
no, I'm serious. Like, I don't get calls, especially because I can't afford to travel like I used to. So, like, all these promotions that are out there doing would really help me out to get me off my butt and to go places and to motivate me. But
Shit. I
I
mean, as
don't know,
far as I'm concerned, you're like a rock star in the arm wrestling world. Just
man.
for being on the show and as
Yeah, they
long as you've been doing it.
people treat you as
Fuck
has
being
been.
off a year.
Yeah. But like I said, I'll be back and I'll remember all that stuff. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's no negativity behind it. Like, I'm not trying to say like I'm hating these people. No, I understand how it is. I'm a promoter too, so I understand exactly how it is. But I just,
Okay.
yeah, uh, just got to keep it in the back of your head, and it's stuff like that kind of motivates you to get stronger too. So,
Gotcha. Yeah. You can either let it make you or break you.
yep.
Anything that hits you in life, for real. All right. So let me look here at my notes. Basically covered all this. All right. So that was episode 4. You whooped that fucking vegan's ass. And Team Louisiana won. Baton Rouge Roughnecks. Your mama me see here. Something about your mom. I think that was the same. Was that no? That was That was all right. Let's go into episode 8 because like I'm looking at notes for episode 8. I'm trying to see if I got any more for episode 4. Uh, oh well, here's one. Turbo redeemed himself.
Yeah.
He losing to that Jonas brother who was 250 pounds lighter. And you started during that number 4 episode. You were giving him hell about that. Then you had him pulling the 4-wheeler while you're hitting the brakes. That shit was hilarious. Oh yeah. But he beat somebody who subbed in for the Mike Selieris' team. That's his last name's kind of a
Yeah, I
tongue
forget
twister
his
right there.
head, but he's a newer
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, he was basically around the size of Ethan Fritchie was, and he whooped him 3-1. So good old funny ass Turbo, man. He was like a comic relief for the episodes for real. Yeah. But all right, so go ahead. What were you fixing to
No,
say?
it's hard to believe some of the stuff when they're filming this because they could have just did a show with me and Turbo and just going around in life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard.
Just like with that Duck Dynasty shit. I mean, that's what that shit. Oh yeah, that's what reminds me of that.
And like I said earlier, man, I give him his fair share of hell, but we mess with each other so much, and there's only so much they could put on TV as far as us.
Okay.
We got a schedule to keep. We
Gotcha.
we like to cut up, bro.
Yeah, I bet. All right, so episode 8, finally, War Horses, and you had Kenny Hughes, which when I've seen fucking Game of Arms the whole season like a gazillion fucking times, right? For the past like 2 years. He was like the first character who really caught my attention, and then also too with you with the drinking, the alcohol, because my story is with alcohol and just everything in general. It's like I never started drinking, and before I started drinking, I did nothing. I was like 26 years old when I started drinking alcohol, and it just was a situational thing for me. And emotions did play a factor. My living situation, because I've been homeless twice. I've been behind bars up in Indianapolis or Indiana, and I've been in bars down here and in prison over 5 years. I've had a lot of ups and downs, but your story with the alcohol, and then even Kenny Hughes with the alcohol, man, it's just something that hit me with my story to the core. And he was just somebody who his story was just so fucking sad to me because he was 16 years old, the youngest world champion. You know if that record still stands?
Oh, I'm sure. Well, I don't know. I don't want to knock anybody and say, but there's some. I don't know the stats on that, but it's possible.
Yeah, and he got so drunk in that episode that you wound up sweeping him on both arms.
Yeah.
And it just now that final episode, I will say, was really cool to see. He was sobered up. He won his division and everything. What?
Oh.
You must know something. What is it? You got to tell me, man. I love secrets. You think his buddy laid down for him?
No.
What the fuck?
Me and Kenny stayed up partying all night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they played it off like he was sober when he was during the production in the episode, right? But like afterwards, he just went right back to it. Okay.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Kenny. He's a super good dude. We had a good time, and it's hard for somebody not to like Kenny. The dude,
Gotcha.
just a good dude, bro. He was a class act too, and so much potential. But
Yeah.
yeah, what a from the dude, I could tell you stories all day long. We'd be here till tomorrow. But we just that show we had a good time cutting up and having having fun.
Similar to you, like both of y'all on the show were heavy, but even like with you, right here recently, as we were talking before the show, and even him, when he came back onto the scene, he lost a shitload of weight.
Yeah.
You know what? You know how he did that?
I mean, I don't know for sure, but he kind of got in shape. I know that. So
Yeah,
um,
because like he was looking
real
solid, bro.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked really good. Like he was damn near unrecognizable until was it Alex Toprol on his channel, right? He did like it was a tournament that Kenny competed in, and he looked fucking good. He looked so good. Now with you, right? Just to get back on you, you said you had a surgery to help with the weight. Then
Yes.
you had a little problem of where you had to, because you were feeling weak or what have you during that or after it happened. So you were trying to gain that weight back to feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt bad, man. I was just weak and had no stamina, no energy. Uh, it was rough. Um, when you have when you have surgery, there's no controlling it, putting it on a certain pace. You're gonna lose the weight the way it's intended, and not the way that's properly intended, but the way that the surgery is intended to do. So when you lose a lot of muscle, you lose a lot of just everything, man. It takes a lot away from you.
Gotcha. Andrew Wood, appreciate the comments there. Subscriber 127, appreciate that, bro. Reporting in, and he actually picked my live stream over Monster Michael Todd's. Aw, I appreciate that, buddy. And he didn't know, but yes, Kenny Hughes has been, unfortunately, he, if I remember correctly, he had a motorcycle accident or something
Yeah,
like that.
I
Yeah,
think so.
and he passed away like it was a few years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years.
And all I got to say to that
The
is
fuck?
because like that dude's gonna be missed over there in California and
Yeah.
Petaluma and his territory and what have you for real. Um, you know, that's unfortunately that's life. Um, all right, so in episode 8, there's a segment with you and your mom, and your health was an issue during that time period. Fatty liver disease was what they were worried about because that's supposedly according to them, what your father had passed away from. So you had Craig Tooley and the team trying to get you to eat some vegetables with some ranch dressing instead of drinking some beer and eating some hog.
Yeah, that
You
didn't go. Yeah.
it didn't. You kicked that shit right to the ground. Oh yeah, that was a funny scene too. But can you elaborate some more on that though? About what was really going on that
Oh,
maybe
so
wasn't said on TV.
Oh, there's a lot. You got to keep in mind there's only like less than 10% of what was filmed that stuck to TV. But so my my dad passed away from esophageal varices, which is something that comes from cirrhosis that develops. It's the deterioration of your esophagus, almost like cancer of the esophagus. But
Ooh,
so everybody in the, let's say, in the 80s and 90s, when I guess cirrhosis was made popular, there's two ways to get cirrhosis. They even call it, they call it a fatty liver, because if you eat the wrong stuff, it also causes that. Well, my dad had actually quit drinking, like,
okay. Hold on a sec. And what are those foods? Could you tell me real quick? Just
so
that I'm curious.
any like greasy stuff, or you gotta what's like the old school healthy foods. Um, so vegetables is obviously not in that category, but like fried and greasy foods. I live in Louisiana, so you might not be used to the some of the foods that I eat over here. Rice and gravy, fried foods. We literally cook unhealthy almost every meal. So whenever my dad found out that he had to stop, he stopped drinking, but it didn't matter because he kept eating the same way. Well, they didn't know all that back then. So that was
Gotcha.
something that they learned in the last 20, 30 years. So there wasn't nothing that could be done.
What the fuck?
I had to learn. I learned from how the certain things that he didn't, and kind of adapted into my diet. And I still drink here and there. I still do that, but I try to watch what I eat a little bit more. So
Cheers.
yeah, yeah.
I don't do beer though. I do either whiskey or vodka myself, and I mix it with ginger ale, diet ginger ale.
Yep.
Okay, so you know, so you went to the doctor. They brung that to your attention. They were worried about the cholesterol and all that, and then you had the match with Kenny Hughes. Um, let's see here, and one thing I noticed is that Luke Kent wasn't in that episode. He had a sub in for that episode from some old guy
Yeah,
who
Luke.
uh, Randy. His name was, I believe, his first
Yeah,
name was Randy.
Randy Weaver. Uh, but yeah, Luke don't like flying. So
I actually, I wasn't going to mention that, but I actually contacted after I had contacted you and Bart Wood, and had y'all booked ahead of time for my show. Um, I actually also contacted him, and we actually he called me up. We had a conversation on the phone. Dude seems real cool,
oh
but he
yeah,
did mention that, and as the reason why he didn't show up, because I asked him about that, and he said during that time period he doesn't anymore. But for some people who don't fully know him now, is when they did know him, still think he's afraid of flying. But supposedly he's over that anxiety now.
that's good, man. I had my fair share. I had a bad flight coming back from Worlds one year in 2009, and swore I'd never do it again. So, but
What happened?
it was just like 10 hours of turbulence, man. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Oh,
I had the captain come over there, like he was walking down the aisle, and the other guy, he went to the bathroom, and he was talking to the flight attendant. While the flight attendant, where her little chair was right next to where I was sitting, and the captain was like, "Man, I've been doing this for 30 some years, and I ain't never seen nothing like this, and it's supposed to get worse." And I'm like, "What the?" Yeah,
What the fuck?
yeah, it was pretty, it's pretty intense.
gotcha,
So I share the phobia for flying with him, just not as bad.
gotcha. I actually, my first and last time being an airliner was around November 2nd, because I was actually sponsored. I was less than 2 years into the sport, and I had AWU, Arm Wrestling Uncensored's owner and promoter, David Kotlow, sponsor me to the Houston, Texas event. And I gotta say, it was a sweet ass ride. I was like looking out the window constantly. I took like little videos and shit. You could definitely tell I was a virgin on an airliner, because like I'm like constantly and taking pictures and shit. It was a cool ass experience, and also very humbling for me as well. All right, so for arm wrestling, right? How frequently do you train over the table? Is it once a week or every 2 weeks?
when I'm when I'm competing, it's once a week. I try to train every week. If I don't, I just supplement certain things into my workout that kind of pick up for my lack of pulling. So I don't have
Gotcha.
to. do. I mean, I do a different style workout that kind of helps. I used to not hardly work out at all, but I just learned a few things that work for me good, and I just stick with it and do it.
Gotcha. And what are those exercises?
It's typical arm wrestling workouts: curls, hammer curls, wrist curls, cables, bands, a few things like that. You just do more band work uh, whenever you don't arm wrestle. And I just want to say something. Speaking of training, my biggest thing is consistency. If you don't have to do these new certain workout of the months that Devin Laird or these other people do, you don't have to do that stuff, man.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Do whatever
Yeah,
works for
I
you.
agree too. You know, all these fad lifts that you're talking about from Devin Larry. Yeah, fuck that shit.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Yeah.
Because like that shit is not going to make you strong over the table. It's
Not
not.
overnight. And then I mean,
No.
if we incorporated what every single strong person or world champion does, you'd have 100 different workouts because each one would be what so and so told you that you have to do. No, it's BS. You don't have to do that stuff. You just
Yeah,
consistently
yeah,
got to go out there, put in the work, and get stronger, man. That's all
yeah.
you got
My
to do.
golden rule. Go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's it.
My golden rule that I follow is John Brzezink's wisdom. Want to get better in arm wrestling? Over the table. So I make that number one. And like, you know, with the blood flow exercises you were talking about, and a little bit of training with the hammer curls, and I do my pull ups like this with I put my art arm handles that you can clip on to a neutral grip, and I do this. But I mean, I'm really lazy. Like, but the consistency once a week over the table arm wrestling with both arms, I've made like my number one thing that I make sure I get. You know, now supplement and recovery. Oh, hold on, we got a comment. Let's see here. All right, Andrew Wood says, I just don't like the TSA, so I drive instead. I used to like flying back when citizens were trusted instead of guilty until proven otherwise. Appreciate the comment there, Andrew Wood. Not really understanding what you're saying there, bro.
Yeah, I can
No
kind of.
offense.
What he's getting at is TSA got a lot stricter and they're getting stupid. But uh
Oh, okay.
yeah. So that's
Interesting. But all right. So, do you take collagen or
dude. I
drink
don't.
bone broth for
I mean,
recovery?
I the most I did was took some creatine today and a little bit of a protein powder. That's the most I do now. I don't like. I could pass any drug screen from any water wherever doping
No,
it
no, no,
or
no, no. Well, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that extra information, but I'm just like for me, I do powder peptide collagen for recovery for my joints and ligaments, and then I drink bone broth as well as a natural intake.
well.
I take ashwagandha, to keep my cortisol levels down because it's a competing hormone with testosterone. So I also take a supplement called Alpha Test that's got Shilajit, Tribulus, zinc, fenugreek, and zinc in it, for a test booster. Because I've done some research on how your testosterone levels can actually affect your recovery and your ligaments and your tendons integrity and what have you.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, I did.
so you just do creatine and whey
That's,
protein, I believe, was
uh,
what you were talking about.
every once in a while, it takes like some branched chain amino acids, BCAAs, but creatine, protein powder, and that is it, dude. Like, about the only thing that could fail me on a drug test is drinking too much coffee. So it's
That was the wrong one. But anyways, I was gonna put the laughing one up for
Oh,
that.
that's all right. It's all good. But no,
Uh,
I don't do anything. I want my end goal is the best I ever done at like the World Championships. I got fourth place. So I was one away from medaling. So my end game to like my legacy, the best thing that I want to do is either place at or win a World Championships one day. So I've been doing this 100% my health, and also for my health, like I was mentioning earlier, the more things that I take, the more of a chance that something heart disease or something like that would kick in. So I'm trying to do this for my kids for my long run. So, I can teach them
gotcha.
to arm wrestle one day too. Not taking nothing
What?
away from, yeah,
Little Bertrands going around? Oh
yeah.
hell yeah!
So, not
Uh,
taking nothing away from what anybody does or anything like that. Uh, I've cheated death so many times in life. Sooner or later, I got to get my shit together and start doing things the right way. So,
yeah, I would probably say you and I both, because like I know eventually I got to quit the drinking, especially if I want to perform better. Probably as much as I, sh- can. But just for right now, I'm not ready to let it go yet. It's
yeah.
not that I need it or I'm really addicted to it. I just like drinking. When I started when I was 26 or whatever, I was like, this is awesome. It was like having sex for the first time. I was like, man, I got to do this again. Uh, I like that. But, I really, man, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing some behind the scenes stories and uh, sharing your time with me. It's really an honor for me because like I'm not no big like like Devin Laird or Monster Michael Todd or all these other arm wrestlers who got like 250,000 followers and shit. I'm just some Joe Schmo who's been doing this for 11 episodes, technically more than that, but on and off. But here recently, just consecutive 3 episodes. I don't even have 200 followers yet. I'm kind of on track that though. I got 127, and I've been in the sport for since September 2022. But again, I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Oh, it ain't no problem, man. Anytime, bro. You ever want to do it again, just give me a heads up and I'll come back on. But yeah, shit. Well, I'm sure I'll
Oh yeah.
see you around. Arm wrestling ain't that big, so
Yeah,
oh,
because I do have plans to come to Alabama State February 28th and March 1st. Are you going to be there with the Louisiana crew?
no, probably
Because I
not. There'll
know they're
probably be
coming.
Yeah, there'll be some Louisiana people there, no doubt. I just won't. Like, I got a late
Okay.
start on this, getting everything back going. And the last thing I want to do is drive 6 hours, spending money I don't have, and make somebody else's highlight reel while I get smashed up and down. So, uh,
Yeah,
I got
I understand
takes me
that.
about takes me about 3 or 4 months of consistently working out to be able to get back in competition. So,
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, this is going to be it right here. We're on 59 minutes, and I'll definitely we'll be in touch. I got you. We're Facebook friends and stuff. So again, for the millionth time, I really appreciate you. Uh, thank you guys for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed this and got some tidbits out of it and entertainment or what have you. Stay tuned for the next one because we got another cast member coming on, ladies and gentlemen. For right now, things may change. Who knows? But peace.
later, bro. Take care.